This was about 7 months ago. Katie and I arrived in Vegas. It was a day early for a cleaning business event. And our early arrival, it wasn't to gamble, it wasn't to drink, it wasn't a party. In fact, Katie and I both, we gave up those things by 2018. But it was the arrival to have dinner with our favorite Vegas couple, which was Alex and Leila. But what was even better was the advice that we got from Leila that really ended up transforming our cleaning business. And while it was simple, it was just what we needed to hear in that moment. And so she started asking us questions about our cleaning business, and we shared what we thought we were doing well. And she pointed out really clearly what our biggest weakness was. And she told us that we struggled to consistently acquire and train and keep cleaning technicians. So we had enough work. It was just a matter of we didn't have enough staff to actually fulfill on that work. So her advice, again, was simple yet profound. She said, hire a full-time recruiter to head your recruiting funnel. And we both looked at each other like, we don't have either of those things. And she was like, it's like having a salesperson, but for your cleaners. And I was like, oh, interesting. And so we were always been really good at acquiring customers. And so he said, having a recruiting funnel is like the same thing, but for your staff members. And then Alex, and he said, dude, you guys have this marketing funnel that's unstoppable. You guys put a recruiting funnel on there. Like, why can't you have a $5 million your cleaning business? And Katie and I kind of looked at each other like, I don't know. I never even thought about that. And so it was kind of at that moment like, okay, like they saw this. It's like, now can we see it as well? And she made the decision to step back in and become the recruiter to create this role. She created SOPs for the position, and the SOPs of the recruiter would be in charge of this recruiting funnel. So essentially what we were able to do is we turned our business into a Major League Baseball team. So what I mean by that is that we literally created a farm system of cleaners. As we speak right now, I think we have like 8 or 9 cleaners on our team, and we have a bench of cleaners who we have hired of about 6 or 7 cleaners. And so Alex and Leila ended up paying for dinner that night. After that, we ended up going to Froyo, and we paid for Froyo, but we ended up getting paid $25,000 a month from that conversation. Because when we had dinner with them, we were doing about $45,000 a month in revenue. And the last 2 months, we've done over $70,000 per month, just all from that little piece of advice. And as a really cool bonus, that every time we bring on somebody new, our culture keeps getting better because we get clearer on who we're bringing on. And so we're able to clearly communicate our expectations, communicate our values, and our tolerance keeps going up, not down. And so each person comes on, they get better and better and better. So you guys can use ZipRecruiter, you can use Craigslist. We recommend using Indeed. It's just where we're getting the most eyeballs. That's where we place our ads for new cleaners, but we also do use this for sales. We use this for every position. And so very much like you have like ad copy or a description for advertising when you're marketing, you also need an ad. You need a job. You need a really like, I won't say a salesy job description, but something that is like interesting and intriguing when it comes to your ad for your cleaners. And man, we have a really good ad. And what makes a really good ad is that it speaks to the job applicant more than it talks about the business, right? And this is like, if you go to any Indeed post, you'll see a lot of times it's like, hey, here's what we're looking for. You must have, we're looking for this, this, and this. The fact that to the point is fine, but they're boring. Nothing separates them. Our ad, when you see it, is like, we're speaking to them and we're talking to them as a person. And then we're showing them our core values right away. Then we're talking about the job. We're doing it as a way to like how they benefit from it. We also have this, you can see at the very top, we have a really cool irresistible offer, signing bonus. And so inside here basically shows them how they can get $1,000 signing bonus. And we actually have fulfilled on that. After they have applied for the position through Indeed, then we actually will take them off Indeed so we can put them into our funnel. And we can trigger all of our automations and we can get them into our system. And so we'll put them through a WooFoo application form, which is an application form, asks them questions, like the standard questions that we need to know, but most importantly, it puts them in our system. It creates a lead from there. And then so once they go through there, we have them qualified. Again, that we have certain minimum requirements that we ask on the application. As long as they meet them, then we actually schedule an interview with our recruiter. The interview is scheduled for about 30 minutes. And after that Zoom interview, then the recruiter actually schedules a call with them right after that call for the next day or the day after as a way to put them on the schedule to say, hey, like either way, you're going to get a phone call to let you know whether you got the position or whether you didn't get the position. And so that way, like it clearly communicates to the job applicant, like, hey, we have a timeline. Here is our timeline. And a lot of applicants really appreciate that because it's like, if you guys have ever applied for a job before, then you know that it sucks just sitting there waiting. And then if they accept, then we go through the onboarding process, right? And so I'm going to show you, I showed you the onboarding process really nailed down from a cleaner standpoint earlier, but now I'm going to show you the onboarding process more from an overview of how it works in respects to the whole cleaning funnel in itself. Once they get get access to the basic training and the speed cleaning. They will fill all that stuff out on their own. And we actually have a basic training for not only just the client, or excuse me, for the new cleaner who comes on, but also for our trainer who's going to train this new client, right? So both sides are covered. Okay, so you can see here, we have a cleaning tech basic training, we have a speed cleaning train the cleaner, and then a speed cleaning train the trainer, right? So it's pretty cool that it shows both sides of the equation of how to do everything. We also have trainer SOPs. So our SOPs for our trainers, like when you become a trainer, you have clear SOPs as well. You know exactly what's expected of you and what you're trying to communicate, or what you're communicating, and how you're training these new cleaners who come into the field. And the trainers, when they're training these new cleaners, they have a report they fill out every single day that goes over how the new training is doing. And again, there's a series of questions that basically just allows us back in the office to say, okay, this person is working out, they're doing good, or like, okay, this person's already showing some red flags, because ultimately it costs us a lot of money to actually hire a new cleaner, not just from the ad spend that we spend on Indeed, but also like these new clean techs, like they don't provide any revenue right away, but they're still getting paid for that time. And so we did the math somewhere, and I think it costs us like $300 or $400 extra to actually bring on a new cleaner. So like, it's not cheap, right? And so we want to make sure that if it's not going to work out, then we know right away. And so the trainer fills out a report every single day outlining how the new staff member is doing. And so if we start to see red flags, we can cut it short, or it just gives us hope that this person's actually going to make it. Okay. And we actually can start stacking their schedule for the next week. And then every single week, the recruiter actually does a scorecard for each of our cleaners. And so this scorecard is something that is super valuable, and it allows our cleaners to know exactly like where they rate and how they stand as far as how like where they are on the line of like getting priority when it comes to cleans. So we don't actually guarantee our cleaners a certain amount of hours, say that, hey, we are going to put the people who are the best cleaners, who are the highest rated cleaners, we're going to make sure that their schedule gets stacked first. And then from there on, it's like a pecking order, right? So it's very much like a sports team. It's very much like an earn your way up the ladder kind of deal. And so how they get rated is based on 5 things. Okay. They get rated based on if they're full-time or not. So 28 plus hours. And that's actually performed, not that they just say if they say they're full-time. So if they do more than 28 hours every single week, then they become full-time and they get a +1 for that. Attendance. If they don't call out, if they show up to all their cleans, they make it without any problems, any issues. If they do request time off, it must be at least 7 days in advance. And if they do all that, then they get a +1 for the week. So this is done every single week. Teamwork. So teamwork is if somebody does get sick, or somebody calls out, or someone needs help, like who's out there trying to help the team out? And they're able to show those, they get a point for that. And then communication. So anytime that they are communicated with from any of the managers, or inside the group thread that they're being asked a specific question, they get a point for that. And we also have a leaderboard as well. So this leaderboard, it shows them where they're at during the week. And so again, like our goal is for all of our cleaners to be in that tier 1. So the tier 3. And so tier 3, they get paid the most, which our goal is to, how do we provide the highest income for our cleaners? Because the more money they make for themselves, the more money the company makes as well. Like it becomes a true win-win situation. And so they actually get paid quite a bit more to be in tier 3 versus tier 2 versus tier 1. And so our goal is to show them after each day where they're at, so they can kind of see where they're at to make sure that they can get to their 34 hours a week. So if there is weekend cleans available, again, like we don't require weekend cleans, we actually offer them based on like the highest tier. We say, hey, do you want short-term rental cleans on the weekends? And then if they take them over, the highest rated cleaners get the first dibs at it to make sure that they get within their different tiers that they're looking for. So the leaderboard is something that gets done every single day as well. These new and existing technicians, and honestly, everybody on our team gets one-on-ones, right? So they get one-on-ones with Katie, and these one-on-ones have a framework to them, right? Like there's a framework to these one-on-ones. They're not just like, hey, like let's just shoot the shit. Like there's a framework to it. There's a reason how we do it, and it becomes really fun when it doesn't become just a BS session, but it's like there's a reason why we're doing it, and really it's for 2 big reasons. It's to keep the cleaners reminding them what their goals are. We ask them like, okay, now you've been with us for a month, you've been with us for a year, you've been with us for 6 months. Like, what are your goals now? Just continuing to have them talk about their goals and to feel like they're supported, and to ensure that like the position that they're in right now, it's helping them fulfill their goals, or it's helping them and a stepping stone to get to their goals. Team meetings. So we have a framework for team meetings as well. And those team meetings are really valuable because we share anything new that we're talking about, whether it's any sort of advertising or marketing or any sort of new changes when it comes to the structure of the business. Like that's where it first gets announced. And then we'll come back and we'll talk to people individually. And we also talk about growth opportunities on those team meetings as well. So we talk about different open positions. We'll say, hey, like if you guys know anybody who is looking for cleaners, like we're always looking for
for awesome cleaners like you guys. If any of you guys are looking to grow, we have training positions available for you to train other people. You get paid more for training other cleaning techs. There's positions like depositing check. There's positions for restocking supplies. And so we basically just use those opportunities to like share the growth opportunities to let everybody know on the team that, hey, like we want you guys to grow. Like we prefer to grow from within, and we want to give you guys the first dibs on it, because ultimately people love momentum. And so when you give people opportunity to continue to grow with you and to move up the ladder, they stay excited as well, because again, you're able to share what you're building with them.
Are you a cleaning business owner looking to scale? Well, I have just a resource for you. See, I did a free masterclass where I shared an automated marketing funnel, I shared a customized sales system, and I shared a recruiter funnel. So if you want access to all those funnels, plus interview scripts, trainer SOPs, onboarding processes, all you need to do is click the link down below, create your free account. I look forward to seeing you inside. Let's go.